Okay. Another knot that I wanted to talk to you guys about is making tassels. And the knot that we're going to be using is called a Rya Knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this brown and I'm going to just make some lengths of it. So I'm just going to decide that I want to make my tassels, you know, maybe I'll just make a couple of tassels here. I don't know. So I'm going to do double that and maybe like a little more. So maybe I'll make my strings about that big. So I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to go back and forth making my tassels, making my yarn. So I'm just gonna make it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be. I need to have a bunch of them. And after I make my tassels, I'll be able to trim it. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to have enough here. Okay, so I'm going to cut here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all these little loops. Okay, I'm cutting all these loops, cutting all these loops. So I have all these little lengths of yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 little lengths of yarn. I'm going to fold these in half and kind of find the middle. So this is the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 strings and I'm going to put the yarn around the back and then through the middle between those 2 pieces of yarn and then around and up through the middle. So that did, oh, I gotta get that other last piece, I almost lost it. Okay, and I'm going to make sure this is in the center, so I'm a little off center a little bit. I'm gonna fix that. So I'm gonna pull these pieces. I'm gonna go up, and then I'm gonna go down. So I have that little tassel, that little knot is right there. I'm gonna grab another 3. The same thing. I'm gonna put them in half. I'm gonna grab my next set, my next 2 strings here. Okay. And I'm going to with my okay. I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna pull up through the middle. And then pull this one up through the middle between those 2 strings, my 2 warp strings. Make sure these are nice and even. And I'm going to pull it down. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a little tassel here. I could go across this whole thing, but you know, it does cover up some of my tapestries, my weaving. So if I wanted to, I could go and add this at the bottom here. That's something I could do. And then if I want to make, you know, if I want to go up, I could skip this one and now I could pull these 2 together and go between these. And 2. Okay, pull it up, pull it down. That kind of gives me a nice little tassel there. And again, I could do this at the bottom of my weaving. I could have done it first, like after I did my header, I could have done a little stripe of some weaving. But I wanted to show you guys that knot where again, you're going to take those two warp strings. Let's do one more. You're going to have length of yarn. I'm going to take my 2 warp strings. I'm going to grab 2 strings. So I'm going to grab these next 2 right here. I'm going to lay it on top. So I find the middle, and I'm going to pull it through the front, like around the one string, and pull through the front. And then I'm going to go around the next one, pull between those two strings. Okay, I'm going to try and keep this a little even. I'm going to pull it up and then kind of pull it down. Don't pull too hard. But then the next stage of this is going to be going on top and then locking that in with a couple of rows of plain weaving, just to kind of lock those pieces in. So if I did another row of them, I kind of stagger it. So you see how here I had 1, 2, 3, and then at the next row I would go the middle here, and I do like these next two here to kind of lock in those. And then after I have my little row of tassels, then I would do a nice row of plain weave to just lock it in. Okay.